I'd love to talk about kind of some of the negative examples where people fail at it. And one of the ones you talk about in the book is the guy at the Olympics who jumped into the pool. And, it's a big story. Everyone wants to tell it, but the brand's disconnected from the whole story behind it. Can you talk about
Yeah.
like the violations or the way these things go wrong?
Sure. Yeah. And we've only talked about social currency. It's one of the six steps, but I think your example of Pavlok is a great one where everyone who's never heard about that before and listening, including myself, is going, huh, how does that thing work? Right? Is it a good idea or a bad idea to shock myself? How strong are they? Like, we have a bunch of questions, which are great, right? Because I then have to talk to either you, the company, or someone who's used it before to get answers to those questions. If I'm sitting here going, oh, well, this is really crazy, and I want to tell someone else about it because it makes me look like I know about interesting things going on in the world, it's not like that example at the Olympics where, I can jump in a pool wearing something written across my chest that has nothing to do with me jumping in the pool. And so it's not part of the story, right? The story I'm going to tell someone if I hear about Pavlok is there's this crazy thing where you shock yourself to help yourself stick to your habits, which is exactly what you guys are selling. And so it's an example, as I talk about in Contagious, of what I call a Trojan horse story, right? Of yes, it's a story. Yes, there's an engaging story on the outside, but inside is a kernel, a brand or an attribute that comes along for the ride. So, think back to the Greeks and the Trojans, the original sort of Trojan horse, where, they hid their men inside this this wooden horse. Good stories are exactly the same thing, right? I'm not telling someone else about Pavlok because I want to make sure that people buy the product. I probably could care less if people buy the product. Sure, it's a great product, but I as an individual I'm talking about, I could probably care less. I want to look cool to my friends. So I want to share this crazy thing I read about on the internet because it makes me look like I know about interesting stuff. But I can't do that without bringing your brand along for the ride. And so I think where brands sometimes go astray is they do something crazy, like, oh, I'm going to walk down the subway station, I'm going to dress in chicken suits and throw fake $100 bills in the air. Everyone will go, oh my God, that was crazy. I was at the subway today and there was people in chicken suits throwing out fake $100 bills. What brand was that for? I got no idea, right? The story's really interesting, but it's not connected to the brand in any way. And so we have to not just make something that's viral, we have to create valuable virality, right? A story that you can't tell without bringing the brand along for the ride. There's a bar in Philadelphia, for example, that has 3 types of ice. And it's crazy. I tell this story often. People are like, why does it have 3 types of ice? It's an amazing story. The punchline of the story is basically they have 3 types of ice because they care about making good drinks. That ties back to the value proposition they're offering. And so I think when brands get it wrong, they think a lot about let's do something crazy or attention getting, not think about, well, how is that connected to what we're offering, or either our brand name, our value proposition, and how do we make sure it's carrying us along for the ride as well?
Did you like what you just saw? Well, great, because our YouTube channel is chock full of tips on how to grow your online business and learn from the best in the industry. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss out. And if you're looking for the absolute best software for entrepreneurs at the lowest possible price, then you should absolutely head over to appsumo.com and subscribe to our email list. Heck, we'll even throw in 10% off your first order just to make it a no-brainer. Now, you're in on one of the best kept secrets in software.